Hey, what's going on, everyone? How are you guys doing? It is June 13th, 2021, and today we're here on a special Sunday for NXT TakeOver in your house. Now, before we get started on anything, let me know what you guys thought about tonight's show down in the chat. Would love to know what you guys thought about tonight's show because honestly, I personally kind of felt like tonight's show was a little underwhelming for an NXT TakeOver. And that's not to say that it wasn't good, because I still think that it was a pretty good show, but it more so felt like an episode of NXT to me rather than a takeover. A lot of the matches seemed a little bit short. A lot of the matches seemed a little anticlimactic. Everything was extremely predictable tonight as well, aside from the big swerve of the night, I guess, if you will, which would be LA Knight winning the the $1 million championship, man. $1 million. Why is my chat not showing up, by the way? I can't see chat. It's gone. It's non-existent on my YouTube feed. All right, I'm gonna try to refresh it. I hope it doesn't mess anything up. I hope it doesn't mess anything up, because I can't see anything until they load. But yeah, anyways, pretty decent show. The main event was incredible. Tonight. There we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let me shout out to everyone that is here as well. Skinny, how are you doing? Jake is here. Maddie is here. Tyler, how are you doing? Yes is here. Marcel is here as well. Let's see here. We got Vanch says, long time no see. Welcome back, my friend. Always a pleasure to see you. OB James is in the building. How are you? Ayan, how are you doing? I'm doing great, my friend. I'm doing great. It's beautiful Sunday. Let's see here. Myro, how are you? Molly man, good to see you, my friend. Hope you were doing well. Don't Be Fickle is here as well. Let's see. Hoodie, how are you doing? Where'd it go? Hoodie says the show was all right, but the main event was, wait for it.
Such good shit.
And LA Knight winning the championship made no sense. Yeah. I think it's safe to say that LA Knight is not going to the moon. Nope. Anthony says, I hate LA Knight. Saying Gamer, how are you doing, my friend? Pleasure to see you as well. Justo is here. Elver, how are you doing? He says, hello. Tonight's NXT TakeOver in your house was all right. I think last year's in your house was better. Yeah. And Stand and Deliver night 1 and 2, man, that was, wait for it. That was
such good shit.
Yes, says first time in the stream, but been a Twitter notification follower for 2 years now. Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you showing up. And tonight's a good one. To show up. There's kind of some stuff to talk about. A lot of people thought that Karrion Kross is going to retain tonight, and a lot of people thought that Samoa Joe was going to pop up and be the next challenger for Karrion Kross. But that didn't happen. Instead, they teased us with one of the wildest things that really? They're going to remove William Regal, or are they swerving us? Please, God, please do not remove the GOAT, William Regal. Do not remove William Regal from being the NXT general manager. This is the last thread that we're just ever so slightly holding on to of the NXT that we all knew and loved. JBOJ says NXT TakeOver crowd was pretty off tonight. Yeah, it really was, right? It really was. They didn't. There seemed to have been a. There seemed to have been a couple of points where the crowd was pretty loud, but other than that, man, I don't know. I feel like a crowd of 300 is enough for such a small area, for the smaller building. But man, I don't know. It didn't come off as great, and I thought that it was really annoying that they continued to say that. And this is just one of the things that WWE does across all brands now, is that they come up with something and they just beat you over the head with it. They just literally beat you over the head with it. And this time it was that this is the most people that have ever been in the Capitol Wrestling Center, the CWC. And if I recall correctly, there was about 300 people in attendance tonight. Like, we get it, okay? We can see the people. We can somewhat hear the people sometimes, but they still opted to use the crowd noise. By the way, if you in the opening to the show tonight, they had like crowd going wild, and whoever was on, I can't remember who said it on commentary, but they were like, "Oh, the crowd's going wild tonight. They're so excited to be in the CWC," and they like pan over to it, and it's like literally just an entire stand of people just sitting there, and there's one guy who's like, "Yeah." I was like, man, come on. At least make it look like the crowd is doing things when you say that they're doing things, and like you have the sound, and I don't know. Vance says the crowd should have been energetic during the main event. Everyone was hyped up for that. Yeah, I mean, the main event, the crowd for the main event was much better than the rest of the show. But even when Karrion Kross retained, it was just like silence. Just pure silence. No Limit said they tried to do it with Bronson Reed squashing Santos last week, showing it over and over again. Safa says the 300 people were dead tonight. The Stand and Deliver takeover crowd was better. Stand and Deliver, those two takeovers, nights 1 and 2. I thought those shows were great. Those were really good shows. This one, it wasn't bad. And I when I say underwhelming, like I don't mean that this was the worst card I've ever seen, or I don't even mean to say that this was a bad show by any means. But when I compare NXT to NXT. So like an NXT takeover is usually one of the best things that we've ever seen. They're usually short, they're usually very sweet, lots of really good stuff, lots of big matches. And this one, it just didn't really feel like it. Especially like Xia Li and Mercedes Martinez, that match felt really off. And like the whole stuff afterwards, we'll talk more in depth about that when we get there. But just that felt really off. Ember and Raquel kind of felt a little off. Just I don't know, a lot of things. The ladder match, I thought the ladder match was good, but it was paced really weird, and I really wasn't expecting to see LA Knight win. I've seen people say that, you know, it's because they want there to be a crowd for Cameron Grimes, but like, can we give up on the when there's a crowd thing? Because there was 300 people here. They told you that every 5 seconds. Like, I don't. If you wanted to wait to put the $1 Million Championship on Cameron Grimes in front of a crowd, you should have waited to have the match until there was that crowd. Because LA Knight winning it makes absolutely no sense to me. And we'll talk more about that. Eon says maybe the crowd didn't get enough Brit Max, so they decided to stay quiet. Yeah, they didn't have enough energy, not enough fuel. Jake says it was silence because nobody likes Kross. But I mean, when you have a heel, you could boo them. Or are you just saying like people just don't like him in general, so they're just not going to give him any sort of reaction? Safa says this wasn't the worst takeover I've seen. That would be Phoenix 2018. Anthony says this show was good. It just was not special. Yeah, I would agree with that. Maddie says I do love the silence when Kross wins. It's just very impactful to me. Marcel says look at my post before Brian Alvarez gives reason why they were silent. What do you mean? Because no one likes him? But okay. When we say that no one likes Kross, we're saying that no one likes him in general, or we're saying that he's like supposed to be a heel? Because if no one likes him, he's supposed to be the heel. They should be booing, right? But I guess if no one likes him just in general as an overall, I get how they could just not give him a reaction whatsoever. Kross is not over. So for me, I'm really surprised. I thought that Kross, when he got injured, I could have sworn that they would have just not taken him back to NXT and they would have just put him on Raw or something like that, because he may not be like the best wrestler in the world, but I feel like these are moving too fast. Whatever. He may not be the best wrestler in the world, but he has that huge presentation. So I'm really surprised that they didn't steal him. I'm really surprised. Bozeman says we have seen better takeover events for sure, but still fire show. Yeah, like I said, I thought it was good. It's just not a takeover. This to me, this felt like an episode of NXT with like a really, really good main event. I thought the main event was flames. It completely separated itself from everything else on the show to me. Sava says should have removed the Xia Li match and replaced it with Ciampa and Thatcher and Grizzly Young Veterans. I wouldn't have been mad at that. No Limit says I just haven't enjoyed the Kross title run. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't enjoyed Raquel's title run either. Maddie says if you think Kross isn't good, watch either Balor versus Kross. Yeah, but you can there are people that can carry others to other matches or through their matches. I mean, Jesus, look at Kenny Omega's wrestled like a fucking doll or like a broomstick or something like that, and Finn Balor is certainly one of the guys that could certainly carry a match. Marcel says Brian Alvarez reported that the NXT fans who attended were furious before the show because they got stuck in the rain for 60 minutes with no cover and WWE didn't open the bus doors and they were mad. I had heard something like that. Damn, that sucks, man. That sucks. I'd be pissed. I would be pissed too. I mean, I'm from Oregon, so like it rains all the time here. So like the rain wouldn't bother me so much, but I would just be pissed at the fact that they didn't try to figure something out or like plan ahead and put like an awning out there or a tent or something. How's it going, Joe? How are you doing, man? Anthony says it felt special. Victor says, I think the problem with Raquel's title run is that she's trying to sell herself and put herself over at the champ instead of just wrestling and letting other people hype her up. Fair enough. Vance says, I heard that the fans were denied to enter. Yeah, I think that's what Marcel was saying, that they just had to wait. F Society says Roderick Strong as the new GM, storytelling. That is something that crossed my mind. But that makes absolutely no sense. But hey, neither does LA Knight winning the $1 million championship. So I guess I don't even know anymore. Speaking of Brian, yesterday was his birthday. Well, happy late birthday, Brian Alvarez. Happy late birthday. Jose says, I want to see the two old guys, Regal versus Ted DiBiase, for the GM spot. And that reminds me, I did see, when my chat was broke, I did see it on the other screen that someone had mentioned that William Regal could move to Raw or SmackDown and be the GM there and then just have him replaced. But I don't know. I really love William Regal as the NXT general manager. I do. I don't want that to change whatsoever. And I feel like NXT, and I don't know whose decision this is, but I think that NXT's use of William Regal is very good. Like, he's there when he's needed, he's present when he's needed, and when he's not needed, he's not there. And in the main roster, they really, really overuse their general managers or their officials, their authority figures, or whatever it is that they're calling them at that time. They're so in your face all of the time. And it's just like, we don't necessarily, like, if you're doing a storyline where that's the thing, like, cool, that's fine. But all of the time, we don't necessarily need that all of the time. But it's nice to have that authority figure to kind of put it into your head of like, okay, who's booking this show? Who's making these matches? Like, it's official, but like, who made it official? Or like, who do you go to complain? Who do you go to have a match made? So it's always nice to have those figures in there for that. But I don't want to see him coming to the ring and doing 25-minute promos and like taking over all the backstage segments of all the shows. I just want them to be there when they're needed. That's it. Maddie says, if William Regal leaves NXT, he needs to come back every year to announce War Games. I hope they don't do it. I hope they don't. I really don't. I don't want to see William Regal leave. And I don't know, maybe this is just him being like, look, I'm done. I'm getting old and I just don't have it in me to do this stuff anymore. And I mean, if that's the case, then, that's the case. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about this. I haven't seen any reports about any of this or anything. So I'm not necessarily sure what's going on. Obi James says, do you think this is the last takeover for Adam Cole? Yes. Yep. I think Adam Cole is done in NXT. I think so. I think it's time that there was rumors of all these call-ups. There's rumors of the draft coming back and all of that stuff. I think Adam Cole is done. I think Adam Cole is done. If I had to guess, and I would wish him the best, it would be for SmackDown. Hopefully that's where he lands if he does move on to the main roster, because Raw at the moment is just a pit of death. And I don't know, that might change when they do the whole draft thing. If they're going to do that, they always try to seem to take the people from SmackDown and put them on Raw to make Raw better, and it just never works, and SmackDown's still just better. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I am interested in seeing a draft though. Maddie says Adam Cole versus Karrion Kross at Great American Bash. Yeah, I could certainly see that. Because you could tell, like, there was that part of the match where Karrion Kross gave Adam Cole a German suplex, and he screamed. He said, "Adam Cole, baby," and gave him the German. And then afterwards, he did like the little flip off thing, you know, where you raise your fist up and then put your other arm into your elbow or whatever. Obi James says Adam Cole can be a factor on Raw. He can be added in the main event scene, but that's if they utilize him correctly, which I don't think they do. I don't think they will. And maybe they will for a little bit, but I don't know. Jake says I'm a sub to Cole on Twitch. They are amazing streams. I'm glad you enjoy them. I love it that some people are able to do things like that, because I think it's a very good way to connect with your audience and to get people to like you more. Even though, like, Adam Cole doesn't necessarily need that because he is a household name already, but I like it. I like the fact that they can just relax, hang out, and connect with their audience on a deeper level. And it's stupid that they don't allow people on the main roster to do that. JBOJ says, I just don't want Adam Cole to be thrown on main event within 5 weeks. He's on the main roster. That's what I'm scared for. Like Jeff Hardy on main event. Mustafa Ali, very good on main event. Ricochet is one of the most talented people I've ever seen in my life. Main event. Or he's jobbing out to someone on Raw in 3 minutes. Anthony says, if Adam goes to Raw, I want him to face Drew. Sure, I'd be cool for that. Eon says, what are your honest thoughts on the Hell in a Cell card? I don't even know what the matches are, to be honest. Hell in a Cell 2021. All I know is that Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio. Hell in a Cell. Can you give me the match card, please? Jake says, who could even take the title from Kross? I don't know. That's the thing, man. I have absolutely no clue. No clue who will take the title off of Kross. Safa says, do you think Walter returns to NXT and dethrones Kross? No, I don't see him having 2 championships. I'm kind of over the multi-champion thing as well. Like I'm just ugh. Okay, so here's the card so far for Hell in a Cell, from what I can see. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. Trash. WWE Champion Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell match. That'll be good, but get Drew McIntyre out of the main event scene. SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair versus Bayley. I'm sure that'll be great. Universal Champion Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio in a Hell in a Cell match. I'm sure this one will be great as well. I'm sure the matches will be good. WWE pay-per-views have been pretty good. Vance says, whoa. What about Finn versus Walter? Is it happening? I would hope so. That'd be great. Vance says 16 years ago, ECW One Night Stand 2005 happened. One of the best pay-per-views ever, unlike today's. Yeah, those were crazy shows. Crazy shows. Safa says rematch, and a great match. And the great match that doesn't necessarily even make sense because Rey Mysterio is the tag team champion and it's a Hell in a Cell match for no reason. Myra says AOW Sheamus versus Ricochet versus Humberto as well. Oh, crazy. They didn't have that. They didn't have that one on there. Maddie says this is clearly Drew's final shot. They've had 3 matches since Mania, so Hell in a Cell is easily the blow off. Good. I hope it's the end. But unfortunately for them, if it is the end, they don't necessarily have anyone to come in either. So that's gonna suck, I guess. Safa says Walter had a promo on NXT UK saying he has no challengers and needs to find new ones. Oh, yeah. So okay. So maybe they will square up at Survivor Series or SummerSlam or something, or maybe Finn Balor will make his way over there. I know that Finn Balor versus Walter was planned a long time ago before the pandemic happened, and that kind of put an end to it, but I don't know. Elver says, seeing Kyle O'Reilly perform really well tonight makes me think he'll be the next NXT champion, but I don't want him to be the one to dethrone Kross. Yeah, I mean, everyone that was in that match tonight is ungodly talented. They're really talented. But for me, like, I want to see Adam Cole leave NXT, and I really want to see Johnny Gargano leave NXT as well. Like, they've done everything there. I just feel like it's time to move on. And Pete Dunne, I think that he could have a nice run as NXT champion as well. Kyle O'Reilly, I'm fine with him maybe eventually being an NXT champion, but he had a bunch of title matches, so it would be nice if he just kind of stays away for a little bit. They also said this is Drew's last title match shot. It's a deal. Okay, fair enough. JBOJ says, I always laugh when the crowd throws Cena's shirts back at him. Yeah, that's so funny. Maddie says WWE main roster might not have great booking, but what does? AOW Underground Meet in the Bank is tomorrow. Yes, it is. It's going to be a huge event, and I kind of have some questions about the order that we're going to put the show in, but we'll talk about that tomorrow, because I think we're going to book the entire show together before, and then we'll just get right into it. I think there's plenty of time. I think 3 hours is plenty of time to run through that. I hope so. Victor says Bronson will take the belt off of Kross, so it could be full circle for Bronson. I wouldn't mind that. I love Bronson Reed. I think he's very talented. I wouldn't mind that if they could find a way to make that happen. Sure. Safa says Pete Dunne looked the strongest in the match. Pete Dunne is so good, man. Pete Dunne is so good. Obi James says Roman versus Ray is sponsored by Fast 9 because it's all about family. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Van says Johnny going to the main roster. Can't wait for a man who has given so many 5-star matches chasing the 24/7 title, man. That's why I'm worried. Like, I get why people don't want to see them leave NXT, but at the same time, like, NXT has been the same for so long. Like, I don't know. It's just hard. Manish says, my guess is Regal is going to find an opponent for Kross, and that could be Samoa Joe. I've seen a lot of people think that Samoa Joe's actually going to NXT, and I don't think it's a good idea. I don't. I feel like that's an ass backwards thing for Samoa Joe to do, and I'll tell you why. Samoa Joe is a former NXT champion. He moved from NXT to the main roster, and he was okay, but he never hit his stride. And then he fell to bad booking, and then he got injured, and then he got thrown on commentary. And he was fantastic on commentary. Samoa Joe was one of my favorites on commentary. Very good. And the reports is that Samoa Joe kept continuing to request to wrestle. And those rumors, those reports are also saying that they wouldn't clear him. They wouldn't clear Samoa Joe to wrestle. And then, of course, you all know what happened is that they released him. Samoa Joe was released from WWE. Now there's a rumor that Samoa Joe was at the PC, a week or two ago now, and that WWE NXT may have interest in bringing him back. And I don't think it's a good idea, and here's why. If Samoa Joe returns to NXT, what does he do? He challenges Kross, right? For the NXT Championship. And he loses. What left is there to do for Samoa Joe? Hang around, have a couple good matches, maybe build some interest from the WWE Universe back into Samoa Joe. And then what? Another championship run with the championship he's already had? And then what? He's destined to head back to Raw or SmackDown to be wasted again? I don't know. It just feels so ass backwards to me for Samoa Joe to do that. Maybe it's a money thing. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe he just wants to be in WWE. That's all you need. That's all you need. But I do find it odd that WWE won't clear him to wrestle, and now all of a sudden they release him and they want to bring him to NXT. Samoa Joe would do incredible in AEW, I believe. And Samoa Joe could be a game changer for Impact. Impact needs people. They need someone like Samoa Joe. I could see them offering big money to someone like Samoa Joe. And even if I remember correctly, I saw something the other day that was from Carl Anderson. And I believe it was like the day after everyone got released, or a couple days after everyone got released. And he was more so saying like, hey, give the whole like thank yous to WWE, like give that shit a rest, because they released you, they kicked you out to the curb, they said fuck you, and you're thanking them. Like, get all your stuff in order, do whatever you're gonna need to do, and do it later down the line. Don't be that kiss ass that like wants to go back with the company. And then he was saying that he's making more money now than he ever did in WWE. So it seems like it's possible that these people could continue to make good amounts of money outside of WWE. So Samoa Joe, Impact. Samoa Joe, AEW. Please do not go back to NXT. And same thing with Tommy End. Same thing. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Myra says, y'all say anyone released from WWE should go to AEW. Yeah, because it's number 2. It's number 2. What do you think? Okay, here's the thing. Here is the thing. Yes, everyone says that people that get released should go to AEW, but here's the reality of it. In terms of wrestling and money and publicity, WWE is number 1. I don't think anyone can question that. No one can question that WWE is not at the top of all of wrestling. They're more popular than everyone. They make more money than everyone. They have the bigger audience. So if you are a WWE superstar, you're a WWE main eventer, and you get released, what are you going to do? Realistically. And this is not to bash on other promotions. This isn't anything like that. But when I'm talking about people signing, I'm talking about if you were reaching, let's say, we'll just say that Raw and SmackDown have a steady audience of 2 million. If you have an audience of 2 million people watching you every single week, are you going to consider a Ring of Honor where people don't watch that show? Or maybe necessarily they don't have the amount of money to give you on that show? Maybe, perhaps, I don't know what all goes in. I can't pretend that I'm a wrestler and I know what goes into picking where you're going to wrestle. But from a viewer standpoint of being on top of the world, it makes sense that you go to number 2. And in my eyes, number 2 is AEW. I've seen a couple people say that New Japan could be number 2. And I won't argue with that, because I think that could be the case, that New Japan or AEW is number 2. But I'm going to use AEW as number 2 from my perspective. So 1 is WWE, 2 is AEW, 3 is New Japan in my eyes, and then probably 4 is Impact. And then I don't know how Ring of Honor compares to MLW and compares to NWA and all that stuff. I don't know how those compare to each other, but those are the 4 to me. So when you have an option of going from 1, for me, I'm going to number 2. That's my first place that I'm going to. Number 2. So that's how I do those things. That's how I work those things out in my head. Number 2. JBOJ says Samoa Joe versus Bobby Lashley for WWE Championship would have been great. Yeah, I would have been down for that. And I would have liked to have seen Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal as well, considering that Jinder is a former WWE champion. They were in a group together and he was cleared to wrestle. It all made sense to me. Obi James says, I heard Lana is going to talk about WWE stuff on her YouTube channel. I'm excited to see that then. I'm definitely going to watch that. I'm always interested in seeing what people say about the company. As long as they're not kissing ass like Aleister Black did or Tommy End. And then it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not interested. And he says, I agree with you what you say, but Joe makes the most sense and AEW doesn't need another signing. Impact would make much more sense. Yeah, I think Impact would be good. Impact doesn't seem like a bad show to me, but for some reason I just can't get into it. And I've said this a million times, is that I don't know what it is about Impact. I don't know what it is about that show that makes me uninterested. I'm not sure if it's like the names or what it is. I don't know, but there's just something missing from Impact. Maybe it's Samoa Joe. I don't know. Maddie says, I want Joe to go to New Japan personally. That would be incredible. But, you know, if Joe goes to AEW or Impact, there's the possibility of working with New Japan as well. Warrior says, definitely want Joe in Ring of Honor in New Japan. There you go. Myra says, well, that's why I think Balor to NXT UK is dumb. I don't think that he would actually go to be in NXT UK. I think he would just have a match. Basili says, Impact Wrestling from 2005 to 2015 had big money roster. Yeah, and, you know, maybe one day they can be like that again. Jose says, you heard about PWGs coming back? Yeah, I saw that. That'll be interesting. Albert says, Isaiah Swerve Scott T is going after the NXT title a few weeks back. I hope him and Kross face each other soon. I personally don't feel like Scott is on that level to challenge for the NXT championship. I see Scott more as in an NXT North American championship scene, but I don't know. Maybe they can pull it off. Everyone seems to really like Hit Row Records, whatever they call themselves. Gil says, Kenny Omega best in the world. Van says, what about Strowman? I have no idea, dude. To me, I really don't feel like I could see Braun Strowman anywhere else. I don't. And like there was that whole thing about him attacking people a while ago where he was making fun of indie wrestlers for being broke and not having money. So like to see him show up on something lesser would just be weird to me. I don't know. And I can't see, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but AEW doesn't seem like a company that would want someone like Braun Strowman, considering they have Lance Archer, Miro, Brian Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs, like Wardlow. They have like all these big guys already that aren't really necessarily doing anything important. So I don't know. Well, Miro is of course the TNT champion, but you know what I mean? Like another guy. I don't know, but Tony Khan said he is interested in signing more people. They're looking to hire some more people for the other shows and all of that stuff. So there's going to be a lot of AEW programming going down. On Monday, there's Dark Elevation. Tuesday, there's Dark. Wednesday, there's Wednesdays eventually again. There's going to be Dynamite, and then Thursday they'll have the day off, and then Friday there will be Rampage. Dial says Braun himself said that he will never work for another company, and that if he stops working for WWE, then he would retire. That would make sense to me. I could certainly see that. Ayan says, hey, AEW, is the Great American Bash going to be 2-week pay-per-view or just one? Just one, I believe. It just had one date, and that was July 6th. Okay. Let me go ahead and get this match card up for tonight. We can go ahead and start talking about the show, because I don't think there's anything else that we need to bring up. I don't think there's any breaking news or anything like that going on. I mean, I guess we could talk about the Impact pay-per-view last night. I didn't watch any of it except the main event, and I only caught probably the last half of it. So I guess I'll give you a rundown here. Kenny Omega defended the Impact World Championship against Moose last night at Impact's Against All Odds pay-per-view. The one thing that was different here is that Against All Odds happened in Nashville, I believe. And this match happened in Jacksonville, Florida at AEW's Daily's Place, which was odd. Very odd. So what ended up happening was the Young Bucks came out and helped Kenny Omega defeat Moose. They helped him lift him up for the one-winged angel, and Kenny Omega got the win. Shortly after that, the lights went out, and Hacker Man Sami Callihan's logo appeared on there, and he showed up, which is weird. It's weird because Sami Callihan had a match in Nashville, whatever, and now he's just in Jacksonville. Okay, it's whatever. So Sami Callihan shows up because he is now going to have a match against Kenny Omega at Slammiversary for the Impact World Championship. And now I'm not sure if this is for both titles either, by the way, because when Kenny Omega won, he just held up one of them. He didn't hold up the TNA World Heavyweight Championship too. So I'm not sure if they're counting those as one or two different belts or not. But when Callihan came into the ring, he was going to beat up Kenny Omega with a steel chair. While he was getting that all set up, Don Callis, who was on commentary, came. He got a mic and came to the side of the ring, and he said, "Look, Sammy, you can't do this. You work for me. You cannot attack Kenny Omega." And right when Sami Callihan was going to strike Kenny Omega, he said, "You are fired. You are fired." So, as of right now, Sami Callihan does not work for Impact, and he did not continue to attack Kenny Omega. While this was happening, Scott D'Amore was also on commentary, came up to Don Callis, and they both exited through the tunnel, and they're not very happy. So I'm sure we'll see this play out on Impact, and I'm sure that they'll try to figure something out between them. I don't know. Obi James says, "Is Don Callis still EVP of Impact?" I don't believe so. No, I don't believe so. Van says, "Sassy Triple H is not on tonight's call." Oh God, the media call. I forgot that that's going on. I'll have to take a look at that. Man, that media call from Triple H, man. Come on. You could do better than that, Papa H. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Victor says, "I heard a rumor that they want to do NXT TakeOver the Sunday after SummerSlam, which is on a Saturday, and William Regal is setting it up. Hopefully they'll do a Cyber Sunday type card where the fans pick up the stipulations and the matches since everyone wants to run the streets." I would love for them to do a Cyber show like that where they let the fans do things like that. That would be a lot of fun. I would love to see something like that. Even if they were like, okay, here's these four opponents, make a singles match, or like even if they were like, hey, here's the card for the show. You pick the stipulations, and there's just like maybe 2 stipulations, 3 or 4 stipulations that you can pick from, or something like that. Something that's like super interactive. I would love to see that. I would love to see something like that. Safa says they just posted an exclusive on YouTube in which Cameron Grimes apologized to Ted DiBiase. Doesn't seem like this feud is over. Yeah, I certainly didn't think this was over. This is definitely going to continue, and I think that Cameron Grimes will eventually take that title from him. They're probably going with the whole like he should chase it type thing, which I don't necessarily feel like he needs to do. Aeon says, "I give you a dare. Watch tomorrow's Raw and do a post show. I bet you would hate yourself." Yeah, no, I can't do Raw tomorrow. We have Money in the Bank. We have AOW Underground Money in the Bank tomorrow. There is no Raw for me tomorrow. Van says, "I remember you got triggered." I was just having a good time, man. I was just having a good time. I was laughing at everyone making fun of Triple H on Twitter, about everyone just calling him a little bitch and about how sassy he was on the media call. Like, to say something like that, it's just so dumb. Like, and of course, you can say that when you're on top of the world, right? If I'm getting whatever it is, like business is the best, viewership is the best, and someone's like, "Hey, your show sucks," then you just like, "Hey, you know what? Then don't watch it." Like, I don't give a shit. But like, it's so bad when your shows are doing terrible, and not terrible in terms of like ratings for everything, because even though the Raw is bad and their viewership is at an all-time low for them, they're still number 1, 2, and 3 on cable. So like, let's never pretend like they're not doing well in terms of that. They're just not doing well in terms of what they used to bring in. That's all I'm ever saying when I'm talking about Raw. I'm not taking away their viewership or anything like that. But when you're scraping lows and you're telling someone like, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's like, bro, don't be a salty little bitch. Okay? don't be that way. Okay? And I noticed a lot of people were like, he said that they have the best women's wrestling in the world. Which is, I say that NXT having the best women's wrestlers in the world is partially true, but he said WWE, which is completely false because those matches are trash and the Raw and SmackDown women's divisions are in shambles right now. Absolute shambles. SmackDown's women's division is like a 2-minute match every week. That is it. They're like 50-50 booked. Jake says, can I ask what that YouTube series you do? Like, is it in WWE 2K? Yeah, so AOW Underground is the one that we do on Mondays, and it is a universe mode in WWE 2K20. And what we do in that is I play the game, but you guys book the show as in chat. So you tell me what matches you want to see, I make them happen, and we put together an entire card for the show, and we simulate it, and we just sit here and watch it, and we try to make stories out of the things that happen, and we try to make it interesting. Chat also picks the pay-per-views and stuff like that we're going to do for the shows. And then on Wednesdays, we do a Fire Pro Wrestling game that is on PC. And they have a mode called Fire Promoter, which is like a really in-depth general manager mode where you have to sign wrestlers and stuff like that. So same deal as AOW Underground, but just in Fire Pro, and chat pretty much books the show with who we sign and what sort of matches we have and championships and all sorts of stuff like that. Do we use created characters or no? In AOW Underground, no, we don't really have any sort of creative people, but in Fire Promoter, we do. Like, we have Woody from Toy Story, Kool-Aid Man's in the game. There's tons. Our referee is Refpool, which is Deadpool. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Van says Seth Rollins defending WWE every time, even after Hell in a Cell 2019, makes sense since he is Triple H's golden star. You can never defend that. Oh, God. What a nightmare. Ayan says, I definitely see you not doing Raw because why not? It's so bad, but I think you can at least give a chance to SmackDown because I still heard the show was good this week. I don't think that it's good. I don't think that it's good. Trevin says, I have returned. Sorry for the absences, AOW. I've been trying to get stuff taken care of. How you doing, though? I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. And no worries. We're always here for these post shows, these live streams. They're always up. Life is certainly more important than a post show, my friend. But I'm doing good. I hope you're doing great as well. Hopefully you're getting those things taken care of. Victor says AEW and Impact are pre-recorded right now. Okay. Dial says Vange, also the fact that he is a top guy. Easy for Seth to brag. They should ask the people who were released. Yeah, man, I can't wait. You know, people defended Retribution for so long. I can't wait until someone finally speaks up about Retribution and about how shit it was and about how they had absolutely no clue what they were doing. I can't wait because I said it since its inception that this was trash. This was not going to work. They changed it over and over and over and over and over. The people weren't even the same that initially debuted. Then they had Mustafa Ali as their leader. And then they were like, oh, hey, guess what? I'm also Hacker Man. And then there was like nothing involved in any of that, man. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I am so excited. Elver says, I loved Pete Dunne's white, and now I want him to come out with his matches within NXT. Yeah, the white gear was flames. Absolute flames. Okay, but I believe that is all we kind of need to talk about before. We've been kind of rambling on for about 50 minutes here, so let's go ahead and get into this episode of NXT. And actually, not even an episode, it's a pay-per-view. NXT TakeOver in your house. This show. My apologies. The show started off with a big 6-man tag match, and this was a winner takes all match. So the NXT North American Championship and the NXT Tag Team Championships were on the line. Bronson Reed and MSK defending against Legado del Fantasma. Vance says, let's not forget when they said we will give you what you want. Exactly 1 year later, they got the lowest Raw viewership ever. Wow. It's so crazy, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I'll touch on that briefly. Like, you don't have to cater to like every single thing that people want, but you do need to listen to your audience, and that's for everyone. That's absolutely for everyone. And that doesn't matter what sort of field that you're in. If I make a movie and I think me and my squad that helped make this movie, we say this is the greatest movie of all time. Okay? I do whatever it takes to get this movie released into movie theaters, and the people watch it and they say, this movie is trash. And what am I supposed to say? That you guys are just a bunch of idiots that don't know a cinematic masterpiece when you've sat there and watched it? Like, that's not how it works. You're here to please them. So if those people don't like your movie, then you're fucked. If you're a TV show, we've seen this plenty of times with TV shows, longer series that have had more than one season, where they start to kind of deter from the path they once were on, and people start losing interest. So then all of a sudden their viewership starts dropping, right? Your viewership stops dropping. Your people are talking shit about your TV show because they don't like it anymore. You either do one of two things. You, one, continue down the path that you want to go and hope that maybe they'll gain traction or you get a new viewership or you eventually get canceled. Or two, is you give the people what they originally wanted and your show can continue on and be as great as it was. Like, it applies for literally everything. Literally everything. If you're a musician, if you're a rapper, if I'm a rapper, like, I'm one of the best lyricists in the world. I rhyme 10,000 miles a minute. Metaphors are next level. I got the best bars in the world. And I hit you with just this incredible lyrical album. And everyone praises me for how great I am at rapping. And then next year, I release a mumble rap album. You know what everyone's going to say? This shit's trash. And you got to live with that. And so if you're coming up to your next album, you have that choice to make. Do I continue down that path of what I want to do and make this mumble rap shit and have a smaller audience? Or do I want to do this lyrical stuff that made me blow up in the first place? So, like, it's WWE is not like exclusive to this problem. They're not the only ones that have this issue with having to please fans. The whole entire product is based on pleasing fans. The whole product is based on getting a reaction, whether it's good or bad, but we're smarter now as well. So, like, we know that this stuff isn't necessarily real as in terms of, like, not that they're not hurting each other, but in terms of, like, we know that it's scripted, right? So we know heels, we know all this stuff. It's not like back in the day where you didn't know, you didn't understand it. So your job is to make us have a reaction. It's your job to make us entertained. It's your job to make us love someone. It's your job to make us hate someone. If you can't do those things, that's not my problem. That is your problem. So that's why I don't understand the disconnect. I don't understand it. Phoenix says, I don't know. Kanye did that and it didn't work out too bad. Yeah, Kanye got lucky. Kanye did pretty well. Like, all of his albums are mostly different and he was able to get away with it. But I mean, how many other people can do that? Yellow Wolf is another one that has had sort of a different path. Like, a lot of Yellow Wolf's albums always sound a lot different than his other ones, especially when he does like mixtapes and stuff like that. But it's not impossible to do, but I'm just saying, like, that's just kind of where we're at, essentially. Philip, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. He says, I am here. You have Justin Gabriel right now on Wednesday. I hope he's available. And Wade Barrett. Yeah, we'll have to see, man. We will have to see. Welcome to the show. I hope you enjoyed NXT TakeOver in your house as well. Obi James says, you also got to realize that WWE is mainly marketed towards kids now. Yeah, it seems like it. It seems like it. A Disney buyout wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to me these days. I don't think. Vance says, hey, speaking about cinematic masterpiece, the first thing WB did after getting the final cut of Snyder Cut, they deleted the scene where the Flash time travels just because they didn't understand it. Man, WB is literally just trying to sabotage all of that shit. I've read such bad things about WB and all of this DC stuff. It blows my mind. And like the fact that people bitching so much about a movie actually led to them paying to finish the original one and releasing it is crazy to me. And that just shows you how much power the fans have as well. Like, you have a voice, use it. So when someone tells you, hey, if you don't like this, don't watch it, the reply is, no, I'm going to make my voice heard, because while I may not like everything that happens, there's certain things that I do like, but voicing your opinion will help put people in certain directions. And that doesn't mean that everything I say is correct or everything that you say is correct. They're just opinions. But overall, I think it helps criticize the product better, and I think it helps bring light to certain issues. I think they should be paying attention to stuff like this. And honestly, if I'm being honest with you, what I would do if I was a, maybe not WWE because they might be just too large, but if I'm an AEW, if I'm an Impact, if I'm a Ring of Honor, an NWA, I would look for people like me. Maybe I'm too small at this stage of where I am, but I would look for people that do something similar to what I do, larger, smaller, whatever it is, as long as they have an audience. And I would say, hey, look, I'm this guy for NWA, right? Here's a year subscription to our fight thing. We would like you to watch our show and let us know what you think. Or like, hey, I'm the guy from Ring of Honor. We kind of want to like take a little poll here and see what you guys think about this. Like, maybe poll your audience for us and say like, hey, do you like these sort of things? Who's your favorite wrestler right now? What's your favorite gimmick? Like, going out there and grabbing that information from communities where like people like me and people bigger than me, and even people smaller than me as well, like, everyone has a voice. And if you have any sort of audience and any sort of engagement, any sort of interaction, I feel like it's very valuable. And I don't know anyone who's doing such a thing like that. I don't think one promotion is doing something like that. And I think it would be an incredible way to connect yourself with your audience on a next level, and bring in new light to people too. Because for me, when I started off, I am pure WWE. I did not cover anything else. And even in the beginning, I only did Raw and SmackDown. I couldn't even be bothered to post about NXT. It was only more towards like a year or two in where I was like, okay, I'm actually going to watch NXT and post it and do stuff like that. So for me, when I started watching AEW and watching its inception, I'm bringing a pure WWE audience over into this AEW audience. And sure, it's still pretty bad a lot of the times where they don't like the AEW product or whatever. But if you have these people that cover things and you say, hey, look, we are Impact and we want you to give us a try. So like, here's $1,000 or whatever. Watch our show for a month, cover our show for a month. Or, you know, here's a couple free pay-per-views or whatever it is. Like, here's a couple Impact t-shirts, like whatever. I don't know. Or just like, hey, maybe you should watch these. Maybe we can work out some sort of deal or something like that. I don't know what the compensation or anything looks like, but being like, hey, you're a large page. You only cover WWE or you only cover AEW. What, you don't watch Impact, you don't cover it. So like, maybe watch it. Give me an incentive to watch it. Give me an incentive to post about it. Give me an incentive to bring you a better audience or a bigger audience. Just something like that. Or even just get feedback. Because feedback is very valuable. Very valuable. Trevin says, hopefully Raw and SmackDown is good again when the fans return, and if they do the draft like 2016 to where it has to be new storylines and fresh matches. I hope so, man. I hope so. I think that the next one that I tune into will be when the audiences return. I think I'll cover that Raw and SmackDown, and we'll kind of see where we go from there. And I'll just have to move AOW Underground and FFBW to another night, or we'll have to do them afterwards or something like that. Jake says, I have to go. Phone is about to die. See you next time. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I appreciate you being here and chatting. Appreciate it. Hopefully you have a good rest of your night. Van says, dude, DC belongs to the wrong company. 100%. Which is crazy because their animated shows are incredible as well. Charles says, I heard Samoa Joe could be the next GM. Yeah. I'd rather see Samoa Joe wrestle, but that's just me. That is just me. Trevor says, I'm conflicted on the rumors that Disney might buy DC because I don't want them to be a mega monopoly, but they like Snyder and might continue the Snyderverse for him. Really? I don't know if I could see Disney continuing something like that. I would love for them to do that though. The Snyderverse is amazing, man. I want them. And I think even Ben Affleck said he would come back to be Batman if they did the Snyderverse. So like, yes, please. Please. How's it going, Jack? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Obi James says, gotta head out. Have a good night. Thank you, man, for tuning in. Hopefully you have a good rest of your night. Yeah, I guess we need to go through this because we're about an hour in. We're about an hour in. Elvis says, have you watched the Loki pilot? I saw it the day it premiered and thought it was good, and I'm looking forward to how the series will go. Yes, I did watch the premiere episode of Loki, and I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed WandaVision as well. I haven't seen the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm not really into those characters, but Loki looks great. Okay, so like I said, let's get into it. Here we are. It is Sunday. NXT TakeOver in your house was today, and this pay-per-view started off with a big 6-man tag team match, and this was a winner-take-all 6-man for the NXT North American and the NXT Tag Team Championships. And we saw Bronson Reed and MSK defending against Legado del Fantasma. This was a good opening match, I thought, and Legado del Fantasma has a presentation like no other. It is so good. Like, I love their appearance and I love their music. One of the things that I noticed when I was watching this show, it was like, man, some of these people have some really good music. Like, Legado del Fantasma has really good music. Bronson Reed has really good music. I think Mercedes Martinez music is pretty good. Xia Li's music is incredible. I love her music. Like, the entrance is amazing. The little sword fighting spot is great. And then the actual music afterwards is really good. It sounds like a Kanye West beat to me. So I was just like appreciating the theme music until we got to the main event. That is the main event music. Just no. No. Van says this match was fun. MSK always delivers. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Bronson Reed, and MSK has been great as well. And Legado del Fantasma has really, really, really grown on me. I can't remember what he was called before, but Santos Escobar has been great. And then pairing them up with each other, it's been so good. Like, just the whole entire presentation is there for them. And I don't necessarily know what's next. I think that, maybe Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde, they're probably going to be out of the tag team championship scene. But Escobar is not the one that lost this match. So I wouldn't be surprised if next week on NXT on Tuesday, if Escobar is like, hey, you didn't beat me. I'm not the one that actually lost this match. So I feel like I deserve a shot at the NXT North American Championship again. And maybe we'll see that at Great American Bash. Maybe we'll see that at the next TakeOver that's supposedly supposed to be sometime around SummerSlam as well. Trying to go all out for that. Eon says, I feel like Legado should have won because Santos Escobar with the North American title would be awesome. Yeah, but I mean, Bronson Reed just won it. He just won the NXT North American Championship. So I feel like he should have it for a while. And it's a nice change of pace for that division because that division was more so mostly the same up until just recently. So I would love to see him hold on to it for quite a while and have a nice little reign. Eon says, I feel like Legado should have won because... Oh, wait, I just read that one. Sorry. Philip says, good night. I can watch some Nexus videos. I might come back, but good night. Thank you for tuning in, Philip, man. I appreciate you. Hopefully you have a good rest of your night. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for AOW Underground. Myra says, bro, I said that to the music was fire. Yes, very good. Very, very good. Albert says, I want Legado to turn face and feud with Hit Row. It would be cool to see face Santos versus heel Swerve. I'd be down for that. That's pretty cool. Sure. Warrior said, if Reed is losing the belt, it has to be to Swerve. I'm not mad at Swerve taking that title off of him. I know someone said they wanted to see him in the World Championship picture, but I don't see him up there yet. I don't see Swerve up there yet. I could see Swerve winning the North American Championship for sure, And I could see those other guys maybe even winning the tag titles. It might be a good way to drape them in gold. It really seems like most people are big fans of Hit Row. That could be a very successful stable for the NXT brand in the long run. Ira says, I think Johnny could be done with NXT. I think he could call it like he was so random for him to go to the main title. Just seems like pointless. I thought that Johnny Gargano got added to that match to take the pin, if I'm being honest with you. I'm actually kind of surprised that it was Kyle O'Reilly that lost that match. But yeah, I don't know. I think they just wanted a big main event with lots of guys. And I think Sean Rossap posted on Twitter that this is the first multi-man match that hasn't been that's been a single fall since 2014. So 7 years. 7 years. He was added to make that match better. Yeah, just bigger. The five is definitely bigger than 4. And we'll talk about this, but they had a lot of great spots. Andrade has his first match today. Nice. I think I saw pictures of it, or that was one that he had before, but man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this week's Dynamite. He's gonna sit down with JR and talk and all sorts of stuff. He wrestles in trunks again. Nice. I'm gonna have to check it out. Let's see here. Jan says the problem with WWE pay-per-views is that after WrestleMania in just 1 month, they do their next pay-per-view, which is not really good because the new champions won't lose in 1 month. They should do after 2. I wouldn't mind if WWE just did their big 4 pay-per-views and just did special events. It's not a bad deal. Like AEW, I feel like does pretty well with that, and you can go back to that whole like I'm willing to pay $30, $40, $50 for a pay-per-view because it only happens every once in a while. Like I think that could happen, but certainly you're not going to get back on that path with a pay-per-view every single month. As no matter how good they are, I don't think it's going to work for WWE. And I think the problem with why they continue to do such a thing is because they needed so much watch time for the WWE network for it to pay off for them. That's why shows were long. That's why WrestleMania got to be in 2 parts. That's why there's documentaries and like all that stuff. They needed an ungodly amount of watch time. So it wasn't necessarily about the quality of it. It was just more about the watch time of it. Marcel says, honestly, Backlash was better than this show. I remember Backlash being a really good show, but I can't remember off the top if I would say it was better or not. Myra says, I feel weekly shows could be so much better if the title was getting defended in weekly feuds. I wouldn't want to put them on weekly per se, but I do think that I wouldn't mind seeing world title matches on episodes. But I don't know, you might get to that thing where like this might be why this NXT felt underwhelming, is because NXT has been going out and like killing it a lot in their matches. Like they've had big matches on regular TV, and I feel like that's part of the reason why this show felt underwhelming, is because we've seen stuff like this on NXT TV recently. Aside from, obviously the big main event and the ladder match, but all this other stuff, it's kind of like we see this stuff all the time. Trevor says, what's WWE's big 4? I know it's WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, but Money in the Bank is considered a big pay-per-view too, right? No, I mean, I would consider those 4 the ones, and then Money in the Bank goes right back into WrestleMania. And with WrestleMania being 2 nights, you could even do 2 nights of most of these things, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't be mad at a 2-night WrestleMania. I probably wouldn't even be mad at a 2-night Royal Rumble. I don't know. 2-night WrestleMania is great. I much prefer these shorter shows like we got with NXT tonight than like an 8 or 9 hour pay-per-view. I just don't want to sit there for that long, especially like nowadays when I'm covering them. So I'm sitting there for 9 hours. I'm watching this pay-per-view and everyone else is, and I'm trying to interact with my community and chat with everyone. And then afterwards, I'm going to have like an hour or 2 post-show afterwards. So your pay-per-view, your 9-hour pay-per-view is now an 11-hour event for most people. And it's like, damn, it's a lot. It's a lot of time. Van says, to be honest, my biggest concern is Kyle O'Reilly submitting Adam Cole in this match. Karrion Kross. Rest is history. There you go, man. There you go, man. So yeah, decent, pretty good first match to start off the show. It was entertaining. I love Bronson Reed. I love MSK. I love Legado del Fantasma. So no complaints here. Next up was another match between Xia Li and Mercedes Martinez. They're trying to play this off as a redemption match for Xia Li because Mercedes Martinez beat Xia Li in the Mae Young Classic 4 years ago, I believe they said. So this was kind of redemption for Xia Li to get over Mercedes Martinez. And this match was very underwhelming, but I feel like it's, dude, did you know this whole time you've been pronouncing my name wrong? What? No. It's not Vanch? Vanch? Oh no, how do you pronounce it? My apologies, my friend. You'll have to tell me. And I will remember from now on. I'll remember from now on. This match was kind of like what I was expecting though, between Xia Li and Mercedes Martinez. But if you saw my post earlier about the predictions, I felt like this would either go one of two ways, and they kind of took the two ways that I thought it would go and kind of like squashed them together in one. So I thought that either Xia Li was going to beat Mercedes Martinez and she would just continue to be strong, or I felt like Mercedes Martinez would have beat Xia Li and then that would have pissed off Mei Ying and she would have gotten out of the chair. So what actually happened was Xia Li beat Mercedes Martinez, and then after the match, she had Boa throw her a chair, and she was going to continue to attack her after the match because she was so embarrassed and so ashamed from this Mae Young Classic match that she lost 4 years ago. So she goes to attack Mercedes with it. She ends up countering, and Mercedes ends up being in control of the steel chair. She attacks Xia Li with it. She attacks Boa with it, and she continues to attack Xia Li with it. And she looks over at Mei Ying and she says, "I'm not scared of you." And the arena kind of goes black and shakes a little bit or whatever. She proceeds to walk over to Mei Ying with the steel chair in her hand, and she actually stands up and confronts her face to face, and she hits her with a chair, and it's not enough to take her down. And Mei Ying ends up getting her in like a chokehold, like she's been doing, and then she launches Mercedes Martinez off of the stage and into like the chain linked separator thing, and that was about it for that. And before I get any further, I'm ashamed of myself. And I'm very interested to see what you guys say about this. I'm very interested. I thought this entire time, I thought that Tian Sha was the girl sitting down. This entire time. The entire time, I thought Tian Sha was the person sitting down. That's not right. That's not it. That's not it. My mind was blown. So, Tian Sha is the name of the group. Tian Sha is all three of them. So you have Xia Li, Boa, and Mei Ying. Mei Ying is the one that has been sitting in the chair, and I'll type this out. Mei Ying. There you go. If you want to see it. Mei Ying has been the one sitting in the chair. Like, what? This entire time. I'm blown away. And it looks like most of you guys didn't know either. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was so confused because they kept saying Mei Ying. And I'm like, is it Mei Ying or Tian Sha? Because I'm confused. I don't understand. And I'm looking at the Twitter and it says Fear Tian Sha. And it's pictures of her. And I'm like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. It's not. So from now on, I guess we will all know that Tian Sha is the actual group, and Mei Ying is the creepy ring looking girl who is supposed to be Karen Q, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so he says, okay, now I got it. In Vance, the A sounds like you in Rush. Oh God, that's okay. So how do you say that? Like this? Vush? Is that how you pronounce it? Vush? Vunch? What? Oh, sorry. This Vunch? Is that how you pronounce it? Like that? I don't want to pronounce your name wrong, my friend. Ian says, did you see Andrade Instagram where he threw Ric Flair in the pool? Yes, that was great. That was great. Vunch. Vunch. Okay. Okay, I will try to remember that. My apologies if I accidentally call you Vanch. Vunch. Vunch. I got you. I got you, my friend. Thank you. Marcel says Mark Henry is trying to make AEW sign Braun. Okay. Two things. One, it would be very interesting to see Braun Strowman unhandcuffed from the WWE and being able to be creative and be a monster. I see the positive in that. The negative is Braun. And Braun has been a very downside to the reason why I have not enjoyed WWE in so long that I don't want to see him go anywhere else. That's like Baron Corbin getting released and having AEW sign him. It's like, oh God. I know that he's talented. Like Baron Corbin's very talented, right? But like, do I need this guy on AEW? Like, please God, no. Please God, no. Don't do this to us, please. No. Marcel says literally no one wants him in AEW. Yeah, I certainly don't. I don't. And I don't know if you were here for this when we sort of mentioned it before, but I just feel like there's not a place for him. Like you have Miro's big and dominant. There's Lance Archer. There's Will Hobbs. There's Brian Cage. There's Wardlow. There's Jake Hager. Like there's a lot of big dudes in that. So like I don't no. You know, something I found out that's very weird today is that my fiance told me that Braun Strowman or Adam Shear, however you pronounce his last name, is dating Raquel Gonzalez. And I was like, that is the weirdest thing I've heard. Well, the second weirdest thing I've heard all day because I thought that Tian Shaw was the name of the girl sitting in the chair. But Trevin says, in my opinion, Braun doesn't feel like he fits anywhere but WWE. Yeah, 100%. Vutch says, hey, William is going to address about the change in NXT this Tuesday. Okay, well, that is going to be a must-watch episode. Marcel says that kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's weird as hell, right? I was not expecting to hear that. I guess they were like arguing in comments with someone, I guess. Vashon says Trevin, he told Vince once he left WWE he wouldn't put boots on for anyone else. Okay, yeah, I'm excited for Tuesday then. I'm excited for Tuesday to see what's gonna happen. Very excited. Oh, also something interesting is I put T and Shaw in the Google Translate, and the translation to English is goddamn, which I thought was hilarious. Wait, they date? Supposedly, that's what my fiance told me, and I just thought it was weird as hell. Marcel says Alistair is coming to AEW according to Meltzer. I hope so, man. I hope so. Tommy End in AEW. That sounds like mwah, just a chef's kiss. Sounds so amazing. Hell yeah, man. Okay, so next up was our $1 Million Championship ladder match. That was, of course, between Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. I hate that I even have to say that name. And look, it's conveniently on the screen as we talk about it as well. And this match was pretty good. There were some brutal spots, like that spot where Cameron Grimes got dropped on his back on that ladder when it was facing sideways. Ooh. Brutal spot. Marcel says Black and Andrade in AEW, but no Zelina, right? I hope that she didn't actually sign a deal with WWE, and hopefully she can go over there as well. I would love to see Andrade and Zelina reunite, and I wouldn't be mad at seeing Zelina in black or Thea Trinidad and Tommy End. I wouldn't mind seeing that in AEW either. Myra says, does one person have all the titles in AEW or something? No. So you're probably talking about Kenny Omega, who is the belt collector at the moment. That is his gimmick. He is the AEW World Champion, and he's also the Impact and TNA World Champion, and that is 2 different belts. And then he is the AAA Mega Champion as well. None of those are AEW belts, of course, except for his World Championship. The Impact and TNA one are from Impact, and the AAA one is the AAA Mega is from AAA. So, but he does have a match. Andrade and Kenny Omega have a match coming up. I believe it's in August, if I remember correctly. And that is for the AAA Mega. So I would expect Andrade to win that. Oh my god. Dude, you can call me Vange Vunch. In your accent is sounding a lot horrible. No offense. It's just that it's only good in Indian accent. Vanch is a cool name though. Whatever you want, man. Whatever you want. I will call you whatever you want. Vunch. I call you Vunch. I can call you Vanch. I can call you V. I can call you whatever. Whatever you prefer, man. DeQuavis says Kenny is really injured right now. I've seen that, but I haven't looked into it. I need to do that. I really need to do that. Trevin says they might sign Braun back among their other releases, but WWE cutting stars to avoid big price contracts instead of reconstructing to a lower deal is dumb. I completely agree with you. Completely agree. I feel like it doesn't make I mean, maybe they have to. Maybe that's how their contracts are. I don't know. I can't pretend to imagine how something like that is structured. I don't know. But maybe that's what has to happen for them to renegotiate. But it doesn't make sense to me, being an outsider, to release someone and then just try to get them back at a lower price. It seems like a lot of negative press for no reason to release Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman was supposedly getting paid $1 million a year in his WWE contract. So if they release him and then everyone's like, whoa, what the hell? And then they re-sign Braun for, let's say, half that, $500K a year. It just seems so off. I don't know. It just seems weird. I would rather have that like behind closed doors, or even being like, hey, Braun, look, this is what's going to happen. You're getting paid way too much fucking money. We cannot pay you $1 million a year. So we're going to release you from your contract. And if you would like to, we will negotiate a new one. And that way it stays behind closed doors. And then if Braun is not interested in negotiating a new contract, then we wish you the best on your future endeavors. That way you're kind of keeping it in-house. That would make more sense to me. Vishan says, a guy here from social media. I hope you're enjoying the show, man. I hope you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're having a good time. Grimes losing is such a raw move. It was really weird. Really weird. But yeah, back to this match. I thought this match was pretty good. Some good spots in it. I knew once they set that ladder up on the ramp, I was like, oh man, whoever goes on that side of the ladder is screwed. And when Cameron Grimes had done that, what was it, like a Hurricane Rana-ish or something, and threw LA Knight over the top, and he was going to grab the $1 million championship, I was like, dude, this is the worst finish in all of time if he's just gonna go up there and get it off of that. And then when Cameron Grimes went up to that other side of that ladder, I was like, oh, Cameron Grimes is not winning this match, is he? It's gonna be LA Knight that wins this match. And he did. LA Knight won this match, and LA Knight is now the $1 million champion. And it does not make sense with me. Go with Vanch. All right, I got you. I got Vanch. If it ever bothers you again, or ever bothers you, just let me know, and I'll figure it out, okay? I will figure it out, my friend. DeQuavis says, Braun always seemed to get a lot of backstage heat, and I think that deal was so high because of how... Yeah, I mean, maybe. A lot of people got signed to these big money deals because they were scared of them going to AEW. And now it doesn't seem like that's the case. Or they're just trying to get all these people out of them because they're like, damn, this is just too much money to pay people. So yeah, this didn't make any sense to me, really, necessarily. Like, Cameron Grimes has been all about this money thing for months now. Ever since he returned, he invested in Dogecoin and cryptocurrency, and he's become rich as hell. out of nowhere. And he's just living the good life, being all about money and being rich. And so all of this stuff involving Ted DiBiase, like that's the whole reason why Ted DiBiase came to NXT, was to kind of butt heads and have a program with Cameron Grimes. And to give this to LA Knight when LA Knight just became a part of it like 2 weeks ago just doesn't make sense to me. And I don't know if it's because they want Cameron Grimes to chase the title from LA Knight. I don't know if this title is even going to necessarily mean anything. It's probably not. It's probably just going to be something that happens, and it's just going to be the feud between them, and Cameron Grimes will probably just hold it forever afterwards. I don't know what it is, but this was so off to me. This was so out of left field, and this doesn't make any sense. And especially because for me, I don't feel like LA Knight fits. I don't feel like LA Knight fits in NXT whatsoever. Like, I don't know. It doesn't add up. He seems so out of place. He hasn't done anything of importance in NXT in all of the time that he's been there so far. And he hasn't connected. And I know that Eli Drake is a huge character and he's very important. So maybe someone like him, maybe get rid of that LA Knight name, repackage him to something else. Call him Eli. Call him something else. Maybe even just call him LA. And just pronounce it weird or something. You could even try to spell that out into a fancy name or something instead of it just literally being an L and A. And move him to Raw. He's a character. He might be able to excel there. He's a very good talker. If you close your eyes when he's talking, he's The Rock. Like, it's no secret that this man literally watched The Rock tapes when studying promos. He sounds exactly like him. His cadence is exactly like him. Everything that this man does and says in a promo is from The Rock, I swear. And maybe that's not needed in NXT. Maybe that's needed on Raw or something like that. I don't know. Warrior says it feels like they just kind of threw him in there because he needed something to do. Like, being a rich guy wasn't even his character until this feud. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Like, he was just all of a sudden rich last week when they had that promo in those mansions. That was it. Like, I just don't get it. He wasn't involved in any of the stuff with Ted DiBiase and Cameron Grimes that have been going on. So it's very out of left field. And the reason why I thought they did that was just because they needed someone for Cameron Grimes to beat. So to not have Cameron Grimes beat him was kind of even weirder. Like, I don't know. You have the money guy who's been the money guy for like 6 months now. Let's just do it, right? Elver says, I'd rather have Cameron Grimes win the North American title now because that would definitely be a special moment for him. I mean, he could, but like, it's just the gimmick. Like, it's all tied into the gimmick. Like, if Cameron Grimes didn't have this new money gimmick that he got rich off of Dogecoin, and that he is headed to the moon, then you never have the $1 million championship. You don't have Ted DiBiase. None of that stuff returns. None of that stuff comes to NXT without Cameron Grimes. So I don't. It just doesn't make sense. Van says a lot of people are missing Io and Finn era, and I think we all know why. Yeah, Io is such a good NXT Women's Champion. Finn Balor is such a good NXT champion as well. Those matches that he had with everyone were so good, so good. This definitely feels like a weird era of NXT because it doesn't seem like people are connecting with Kross. In fact, it seems like most guys don't like Kross. And me personally, I haven't connected with Raquel Gonzalez. Like, I haven't connected with her yet. So like, it feels so off that their champions are not like loved and adored by people or anything like that. It's weird. Bronson Reed is great, but MSK is still pretty new to NXT as well. So it's just, I don't know. It's a weird little spot that we're in. Which brings us to the women's match, which was Raquel Gonzalez defending her NXT Women's Championship against Ember Moon. And this feud has kind of been going on for a little bit. It's, Raquel and Dakota were given the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, and then Ember and Shotzi became the Women's Tag Team Champions, and blah, 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 blah. They've been going back and forth and doing all this stuff. So of course, Raquel and Ember here for this match. And I thought this match was okay, but this is TakeOver. This is TakeOver. I feel like they needed to go above and beyond for this. And I didn't necessarily get that. It might be me like not connecting to Raquel Gonzalez yet. Cause I don't know, like I feel like it might be too early for Raquel, but like she's performing fine, but I don't know, we just don't have that attachment to her yet. She kind of just blew up 1 second and then was like, okay, here we are and we're good. It's kind of like Wardlow just becoming the AEW world champion out of nowhere after being just like MJF's second hand. You know, it kind of felt out of nowhere. And Ember Moon is really, really good. Ember Moon's one of my favorites, but like I said, it was a good match, but was it a takeover match? No, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. And of course, Raquel Gonzalez retained her championship, which is another thing that I brought up about this pay-per-view was that it was extremely predictable. And I was right, aside from the $1 Million Championship match. And that was just a really bad swerve. So that should have 100% gone to Cameron Grimes, but for some reason they didn't. Maybe we'll understand in the coming weeks, and we'll figure it out and we'll understand. But as of right now, meh. Warrior says this era hasn't found its footing yet compared to the Finn and Io era, where that was instantly accepted. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Trevin says, since he apologized, I wonder if Ted DiBiase tells LA Knight Tuesday to give Cameron Grimes a rematch, and this time the winner gets the title and Ted as their manager. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to see the match. We'll see. We'll see, I guess. Van says, guys, Braun is trending on Twitter more than NXT TakeOver. Why? Is it because the comments, or is it because of him like showering in the street with Mojo Rawley or whatever that video was? Warrior says Kross and Raquel just don't have that attention grabbing personality. Yeah, they don't. They really don't. And like I think a lot of people are still kind of confused by Raquel because she was like this evil heel, and then she was like didn't seem to be a heel, and then she was like in the crowd smiling and having a great time, and then she was in the ring with Bianca and Rhea Ripley, and then she was like kind of a heel again, and it's just like, what's going on? Like I don't know. But I certainly haven't connected with Raquel Gonzalez whatsoever. Anthony says, I'm back. What are we talking about? We're talking about the women's world championship match. But yeah, like I said, not a bad match, just not TakeOver. And that's my gripe with almost all of this. I don't feel like any of this, aside from the main event, was TakeOver NXT. The 6-man, I feel like we've seen this type of match a million times on NXT. Xia Li and Mercedes Martinez is certainly a match that could have just happened on a standard episode of NXT. The $1 Million Championship ladder match is kind of an exception when you throw in the ladder and the $1 Million Championship, but even that, to me, like there wasn't really anything stand out about that match that made it feel like an NXT match or a TakeOver match to me. Sorry. Same for Raquel and Ember Moon. I feel like this match could have been the main event of any episode of NXT. So that's where the underwhelming stuff comes in that I'm talking about the show. After this match, NXT or WWE announced that the Great American Bash is returning this year. It'll be on Tuesday, July 6th on the USA. And this will probably see some rematches. We might see Adam Cole versus Karrion Kross here. I could see that if it seemed like there was a lot more to Adam Cole and Karrion Kross that, you know, with their interactions in this main event match, it didn't seem like this was the final time that we would see the two of them. So I could certainly see this match happening. Well, Adam Cole and Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship at Great American Bash. I could certainly see that happening. That's probably going to be the marquee match of that night, if I had to guess. Next up, we have our main event match of the night, and that is a fatal 5-way match for the NXT Championship. That is Karrion Kross defending against Pete Dunne, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Johnny Gargano. Trevin says, was Great American Bash last year 1 or 2 nights? I'm not sure. Let's see. Great American Bash NXT 2020. It was 2 nights. It was on July 1st and July 8th. Morocco says, very surprised that Kyle O'Reilly tapped. Me too. And man, Pete Dunne, this match, the first time we see Pete Dunne, full white gear, man. Anytime anyone is wearing straight up white gear, it looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. Of course, he had like some blue stuff on the back, but on the sides. But that predominantly white gear, just looks so good, man. When someone comes out wearing all white gear, you know that they're ready to just beat the hell out of someone. And I love it. I'm all here for it, especially when someone like Pete Dunne is wearing it. Vance says Kyle O'Reilly never tapped. Yeah, correct. Yeah, you are correct. Technically, he did not tap. Karrion Kross just turned the lights out. That is true. That is very true. This match was great. I know a lot of people aren't big fans of Karrion Kross. And it seemed like when I was watching this, it seemed like they removed him from a lot of the match in certain points where they could do all of the stuff that these guys typically do. We had the first one, which was when everyone was double teaming one person, where it just was like Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano attack Kyle O'Reilly, and then Pete Dunne and Adam Cole attack Kyle O'Reilly, and then Johnny and Pete Dunne attack Adam Cole, and they just go back and forth like that. Karrion Kross was laid out on the outside for that, and it was a really cool spot that they did, very cool sequence that they did. There was another time where they had Kross laid out as well, and they did a lot of really cool fast spots as well, where people were hitting like rapid fire moves on each other. It was crazy. Warrior says the match showed that they needed to hide a lot of his weaknesses. Yeah. And there was one of the things that bothered me. A lot of people mentioned that Kross kind of no sells a lot of things because they wanted him to be very dominant and very strong. And there was a lot of stuff in here that I felt like he could have sold a little bit better. Like, I know that you're the big bad guy and stuff, but it feels weird when you have these people that are former world champions, and like Adam Cole was in Karrion Kross's position for like over a year, wasn't he? It was a really long time. And Johnny Gargano as well. Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly, they haven't made it there, but Kyle O'Reilly's put on some bangers with Finn Balor, and Pete Dunne's done amazing and was a very dominant NXT UK champion. So it just seemed kind of weird, like that these people, I feel like, especially when you have 4 of them beating the hell out of each other, like I felt like there should have been a little bit more selling. But I did really like the spot where I think it was after one of the times where they took him out and he came back. Kross like launched Adam Cole over the rail, and then he launched like Johnny Gargano over the rail, and then like that sequence was really cool. I really liked that part where Kross was just launching everyone over, and then I believe he took, it was either Pete Dunne or Kyle O'Reilly. I can't remember. He took one of them back into the ring and fought with him. That was really cool. I really like that from Karrion Kross. Anthony says you have to agree that Kross's entrance is damn good. It is. It's one of my favorites. I love Karrion Kross's presentation, and that's why I said when he got hurt and he had to relinquish the NXT Championship, I thought that was a wrap for him in NXT. Like, and I still kind of feel like that should have been the case. Move Kross to Raw when it's time. He's already won the NXT Championship, and he had to relinquish it. So him coming back just to do the same thing kind of feels like just kind of a waste. I feel like they need him so much there. And while he may not be the best wrestler in the world, at least compared to these other guys in NXT that are just so ungodly talented, he might be able to find a place for him on Raw where he could fit in. And that presentation on Raw, like, it just fits. It fits perfectly. And so for me tonight, what I had said is that the eyes are on Adam Cole and the eyes are on Karrion Kross. Whichever guy does not walk out of this match with the championship, I said is gone. Is gone. And then, you know, someone had pointed out that Great American Bash is not an NXT takeover pay-per-view. So I really feel like they're going to have Kross and Adam Cole there, because there was a lot of Adam Cole pissed off Kross to get added to the match. And Kross, you could see that anger in him. They played on it a couple of times in this match. He had a German suplex on Adam Cole, and before he did it, he said, "Adam Cole, baby," and then did the German suplex to him. And then afterwards, he flipped him off as well. So it didn't necessarily seem like this was over. So I can certainly see Kross and Adam Cole being the main event of the Great American Bash for the NXT Championship. Kross defeats Cole. Cole is either gone for a little bit or he just goes straight to SmackDown. That's what I would do. And I wouldn't even wait. I would not do this whole thing where you take Cole off of TV, and then when they do this draft that they're supposed to do, I can't remember when it was, but when they do this draft, be like, oh, we draft NXT's Adam Cole. No, have Adam Cole show up, have Adam Cole just beat the hell out of someone. I don't care who it is, just have him have a really good debut on SmackDown. That's what I would do. And then when the time comes and you have the draft, you either move him over to Raw or just have SmackDown keep him. You know, that's Myro says August 20th. Okay, so yeah, even perfect. Like, yeah, just go. We don't need to wait. Just go. Ayan says, I feel like In Your House takeover should be a normal TV show, just like the Great American Bash on Tuesdays, because it didn't feel like a takeover. Yeah. I mean, at least this one didn't necessarily. Elvis says, on the NXT press conference yesterday, Kross said he saw Kyle O'Reilly as the biggest threat in this match, and I was surprised when he said that, because I saw Pete Dunne as the biggest threat. Yeah, I feel like Pete Dunne is the untapped potential in regular NXT. I know he was dominant in NXT UK and the NXT UK champion, but I feel like he could do something great here in NXT. He's very talented, and he's leaned out like crazy. Dude is jacked as hell. Ian says, imagine Roman versus Kross if Kross anytime soon loses the title, because he said he should forever be an NXT So Dream match. Yeah, I don't think Kross is ready for a match with Roman Reigns. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. But I don't know. Maybe put him on the main roster and see how he does with other people. I don't know. Skinny says 3 hours of Raw full of rematches makes the Great Khali look like a safe wrestler. Interesting. Trevin says Kross, Mercedes Martinez, and Balor on Raw, and Cole, Io Shirai, and Strong wherever he may be on SmackDown. I'm not mad at that. Not mad at that at all. Tony Storm to SmackDown. Yeah, I'm not mad at that either. Van says, give me Seth versus AJ versus Adam Cole. Damn it, that would be incredible. Where he says Roman right now would expose the hell out of Kross. Yeah, I don't. If you were to move Kross to the main roster, I would give him some sort of beast treatment where he is taking on people that they're not necessarily using, like Akira Tozawa and Drew Gulak and maybe even Ricochet, even though they're using him right now. But have him just destroy those people just week after week, and maybe not week after week, but like have him destroy someone one week, have like some sort of promo thing, have him destroy someone else. Like it would have to be slow with him, because they would have to help get him ready for it. But his presentation is insane. I mean, even from the promo, that was from NXT, where Adam Cole says that WWE gave you anything and everything that you need to come across as a huge star. And he said, the only thing that I need to come across as a huge star, whatever it was just to ring the bell, because he's just one of the best. So, I mean, that's true. That's completely true. Ian says, I heard Mia Yim is debuting on SmackDown, but that rumor came a month ago and now nothing happened. I believe Mia Yim was supposed to debut on one of the, what was it? It was the Retro SmackDown. She was supposed to debut on that, but time happened because they had to make it retro, so they cut her out and put someone else in that match. And I haven't heard anything about it ever since. Ever says, do you think Daniel Bryan will come back to WWE? It was reported a while back that Vince was hoping for him to be back by SummerSlam. I don't know about Bryan. I feel like he is a wild card. feel like he's a wild card. Um, in that, oh man, in that Nigel McGuinness documentary that they did on the WWE Network, it was really good, and Daniel Bryan's in a lot of it. And there was a there was a part where Daniel Bryan had mentioned that like Nigel McGuinness, his entire dream was to wrestle for WWE, and he had to retire or something like that before, and he was like heartbroken. And Daniel Bryan was like, I didn't really give a shit, but WWE called me, so I wrestled there, and whatever. Daniel Bryan, he seems like the person that's a wild card and seems like he could do whatever the hell he wants. I could see Daniel Bryan showing up like at Ring of Honor just to bang some out with some people. He could show up in AEW. And I think if I'm Daniel Bryan, what I would do is try to work on something like that where I'm like, hey, Ring of Honor, like I want to work a pay-per-view with you. And so like, cause he wants to wrestle. There's a ton of people he wants to wrestle. So just be like, hey, I want to do this feud with this person if they're available, and we'll do this. And then, hey, AEW, I want to do this feud with this person and this person. There's a lot of people he wants to wrestle in AEW. So do those things, kind of get it out of your system, and then he can go back to WWE and just be retire and be a lifer with Brie Bella. I think that makes the most sense. And I don't think WWE would deny him coming back, especially with he's married to the Bellas or Brie Bella. So Ian says, just an off-topic question. Yesterday, Apollo got a question. What are your predictions for NXT TakeOver? And he said, why are you asking me these silly questions? I'm the Intercontinental Champion. Weird. Anthony says, by AOW, in my opinion, Kross is someone that does not need a title. Look at this non-title feud he had there. Yeah, I don't think Kross needs a title either. No. And I don't know. I don't know. He's an interesting NXT champion. For sure. And like I was saying, I just don't think that Kross and Raquel Gonzalez has really clicked with NXT like other people did. Like, especially when you compare them to what Warrior was saying with Io Shirai and Finn Balor. Like, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. So yeah, Karrion Kross, of course, he retains his NXT championship. We had this cool little double spot going on where Kyle O'Reilly had Adam Cole in a submission, and it looked like Cole was just on the brink of tapping out here, but Karrion Kross came up behind Kyle O'Reilly and put him in his submission as well. So we had two submissions going on. Kross had O'Reilly in a submission, and O'Reilly had Cole in a submission. It was more so who's going to tap first. Is it going to be Cole or is it going to be Kyle O'Reilly? And what ended up happening was Kross turned off the lights for Kyle O'Reilly, so he kind of passed out here. And Adam Cole was able to wiggle free, and the ref stopped the match because O'Reilly was not moving. And, of course, that means that Kross retains his NXT championship. And that was the end of the matches. And I thought it was weird. A lot of people had thought or assumed that Samoa Joe was going to show up here at the end of this show. And they did a replay after Kross had won. And then they showed Kross for a little bit. And then they threw back to another replay, which I thought was weird. I'm like, okay, shit. Maybe Samoa Joe is going to show up tonight. I feel like they're setting up for something to happen. But as soon as they came back from that second replay, it was William Regal walking out of his office, and they were asking him, what's next? Yada, 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 whatever it was. And William Regal walked out to the parking lot, turned around and said he's been doing this for 7 years, and kind of had like a tear in his eye and walked away. And I'm telling you, if this is the end of William Regal as the NXT general manager, it's going to be a really sad day. It's going to be a really, really sad day. This is the last thing that is holding on. The last part of the original NXT that we all know and love. William Regal's the last part. The incredible shows from when it was on the network is gone. Of that time where they were able to rotate their roster and have these crazy people on here, that time's over. That was the first thing to leave. Then it moved to the USA Network, got stretched out to 2 hours. They instantly lost what had made it so special. Then you take away Mauro. Mauro Ranallo is no longer the a commentator. for NXT. And man, that is a huge blow to NXT. Not having Morrow on commentary, I feel like takes away so much. I do think that the commentary team they have now is good and they're able to keep up and everything, but Morrow he was the voice of NXT. And NXT, they posted something on Instagram the other day that I think it was a hype video for this main event match. And all of the clips that they show had Morrow as the commentary person. And it was like, man, I miss him so much. He's just so good. And they even, they had him on those boxing events, that Jake Paul and Floyd Mayweather stuff, that boxing event that they had. Mauro Ranallo was commentating on that. And I miss him so much. And the only thing that we have left is William Regal as GM. That's it. That's all that's left. So if William Regal is gone, it's going to be a very sad day. And, maybe he's just done. We talked about this briefly. Maybe he's just done. If that's the case, then we just got to kind of suck it up and thank him for what he's done. If he's just hanging it up. If they're going to make him move to Raw or SmackDown, I'm just going to be even more upset about it. Because I don't feel like they'll use him in the perfect way that he's been used on NXT. I like the fact that who runs the show, right? So we have William Regal who runs NXT. He's the one that books the match. So when you say that it's official, that it came from William Regal. When someone has a problem, they go to Regal. He's used when he's needed. He's not used when he's not needed. He's not over in the show too much. He's just there for what he needs to do. So I love that. They don't necessarily do that on Raw or SmackDown very well, and I just hope that's not the case. Hopefully there's just something going on here. Maybe he's going to get an assistant to help him with the chaos. A lot of people have also pointed out that when Sean Ross Sapp posted about Samoa Joe potentially coming back to NXT, he mentioned that it was for wrestling, but they were also teasing that it could be for other roles as well. So I've seen quite a few people say that Samoa Joe could be the new general manager of NXT. And I'm not sure how I feel about something like that. That's weird. But I could also see Samoa Joe maybe be the bodyguard, or for lack of a better word, bodyguard security for William Regal. Just that tough guy that's like, hey, because this whole thing is about NXT being chaos, right? About people battling and William Regal not being able to have control over his own show. So if he has a second-hand man like Samoa Joe, and it's like, look, if you clowns don't get your act together, you're not going to deal with me. Samoa Joe is going to choke your ass out. He's going to beat the hell out of you. So you better act up. I wouldn't mind that. That'd be pretty unique, I guess, for the NXT brand, but we still go to that thing where I don't think Samoa Joe belongs in NXT, but that's just me, like I said. Skinny says, press F for Matt Cardona. Nick Gage is going to end him. Crazy how that's like one of the most interesting things going on in wrestling too, isn't it? Nick Gage versus Matt Cardona. Nick Gage showing up at the major figure podcast or whatever it is. That was crazy. That was a really cool video. Anthony says, imagine if Adam and Pierce did the same thing with Sonya. You guys better stop fighting. Sonya Deville's going to come whoop your ass. Ian says, the fact if someone from Raw or SmackDown move for a commentary like Adnan, we didn't really care, but someone from NXT like Morrow or now William leave, we care and upset because we're so obsessed from NXT. Well, Adnan, he only had like 6 or 7 shows, and he just didn't fit in. He is like literally the person that, like, when I talk like this is Adnan Virk, where he's like so robotic and so like emotionless, where it's like, wow, Karrion Kross just defeated Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne to retain his NXT championship. Wow. Also, did you guys know that there are 300 people here in the Capitol Wrestling Center for NXT? Wow, that is the most people that we have ever had in the CWC. And if I'm being honest with you, the crowd is going wild tonight. Wow. That's what it sounds like to me. It's just so boring. Like, it's just so. And he has that, like, that sports tone where it's like really trebly. Really trebly. But that's like my one thing that I hate about WWE commentary so much is that it's just so robotic. It's just so robotic. I like when even when I'm talking to you, right? Here in this, or even when you're talking to other people, there's a range in your voice. So when I'm talking to you, right? Like we're sitting here, we're having a conversation. This is what I sound like when I'm talking. When I get excited, I raise my voice because something exciting is happening. And then, for me, sometimes when something bad is going on and I say that Humberto is a no good having criminal who belongs in prison, belongs in jail because he knocked me over and I lost my 199 Lunchable and he put a dent in my phone. So you have a dynamic in your voice, right? You're not always just so one dimensional and just so like, wow, that was an incredible main event. And you know what? The CWC is going crazy. Like, it's just so one dimensional. Like, you have to have that range. And we've talked about it so many times of like having the perfect package, right? So if you have a 5-star wrestling match in an empty warehouse and you're just filming it and broadcasting it, there's no crowd, there's no commentary. It's good, right? It's fine. It's a good match. It's a good match. But now you add commentary into it. Someone like, for me, I grew up on JR and King. So to me, they are my like ultimate commentary team. I love the dynamic. I love how JR was like normal. And I loved how the King was just batshit crazy, said the wildest things and was over the top and loud, like screaming and doing all sorts of stuff like that. So add in something like that to a 5-star match and you have a better picture. You have a better package, if you will. Now throw in an arena that is like fully into this match and they're going crazy for the near falls, the crazy sequences, the crazy moves. And then when their favorite wins, they go batshit crazy. Or when the person they hate wins, they like boo them out of the building. Like when you package all of that together, it's just perfect. It's perfect. So when you have those one-dimensional commentary people doing it, it just it's not for me. And especially when they're just like, hey, this is the most people that have been here. Like, we get it, bro. We have eyes. We know that there's a pandemic going on. Like, we know that you've been putting fake or digital people on the walls this entire time. Like, this isn't something that you need to tell to me 85 times in a show. And like, even with WrestleMania, it's too big for one night. Bro, I understand. I watched your show last night. I'm watching it again tonight. Like, I fully understand that there's 2 nights of WrestleMania. You don't have to tell me 85 times. I get it. Please. Ayan says, I love Pat as a commentator because he legit mentions everything that happens on this SmackDown. The camera fell over Liv Morgan. He mentioned that as well. Something, I've been watching Lucha Underground. And I'm on like episode 7 or whatever. But Matt Striker and Vampiro have been great on commentary in Lucha Underground so far. I don't know if it changes later on, but so far in the beginning, they're so good. They tell you certain things that you won't necessarily know. Like, like let's say someone hitting a big move, but both guys are gassed, right? So you hit your finisher, but you fall down 2, and then you go for the cover and it's only a 2 count. And they're like, look, he was gassed. And so when he hit his finisher on him, he took too long to pin him. If he would have gotten over there, it would have been over. Or look, he just threw his hand over the top of this person. So like, there's no weight on the shoulders holding this guy down. They didn't hook the leg. There was another one where someone had got kicked in the stomach and they're like, look, this is a really smart thing for them to do because it's going to wind him and he's going to have a harder time breathing and it's going to be harder for him to recover. And like, they go in depth about certain things. And I really like that about their commentary because sometimes like, even in AEW, I feel like that's lost because AEW has a lot of things where their referees are more so at like a ref's discretion, if you will, as opposed to just being so cut and dry. And I feel like that should come across on commentary because they even do that on Lucha Underground where they're like, hey, you know what? The referee doesn't want to throw this one out. They want there to be an actual finish. So they're going to let something like that slide because it didn't really affect anything. So like, I really, really, really like that. Elver says Michael Cole is one of my WWE OGs, even though he talks too much on commentary nowadays. Yeah. Eon says the fact that JR did simple commentary, but the words he used, oh God, oh my bastard spear, the heart of the Undertaker, made it more special. Yeah, I mean, JR and King will always just have a special place in my heart for wrestling because that's what I grew up watching was the Attitude Era. And that was what I knew for wrestling was that. And then of course, they switched it to Taz and Michael Cole on SmackDown too, and I thought that was good, but JR and Kingo have just always been my go-tos. Don't forget Michael Cole's It's Boss Time. Oh yeah, how could I forget? And the Big Dog. Oh man. Oh man. Skinny says Tony Schiavone is awesome. I like the dynamic of JR, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur on AEW. It's good. I haven't seen of course I love the dark stuff that you see with Taz because it's just hilarious. I haven't really watched Elevation, so I don't know how good Paul White is on it, but Excalibur is great. He's very knowledgeable about all of these people and all the moves and all sorts of stuff like that. He's a really important addition to that commentary team because I don't think JR or Tony Schiavone would be able to put something like that together. I don't think they know half of that stuff. But okay, so we are just over 2 hours. I think that is going to do it for me tonight. I got a couple things to wrap up, and I got to make sure that AOW Underground is ready to go for us tomorrow. We have a big show. Do not forget AOW Underground. We have the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and it's going to be like 9 matches. So it's going to be a crazy long show. We're going to have 2 Money in the Bank matches for the men and the women, and all the titles are going to be on the line as well. Going to be a lot of fun. And of course, since Dynamite is not on Fridays, we're going to be doing FFBW on Wednesday again, and I'm not sure what Friday will hold yet. We'll figure it out, I guess, when we get closer to then. Ayan says, can I have it to the moon? Yes, sir. Ayan is going to the moon. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. And I think this week as well, I'm going to work on trying to get some live coverage for Raw and SmackDown and stuff like this. Or stuff like that, because I do want to bring live coverage back, but I just don't want to do it myself. So yeah, I'm gonna try to figure that out and figure out how to find the correct people, because it's not easy. It's not easy to sit there and get the screenshots and do all that. So I am looking, if you're a Raw and SmackDown viewer, I am looking to bring that back eventually. And I will have, I'm going to start doing video reviews as well when we get that done. So I'll be more in touch with Raw and SmackDown and everything else that's going on. But until then, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And don't forget, on Monday, tomorrow, we will be on the gaming channel for AOW Underground. Let me type that in here for if you were here and you were not already subscribed yet. Van says, watch Money Heist. I will when I have some time. I will. It says, watch it. The last season is coming at September and December. Ooh, okay. So if that's the case, I might wait until it's over to watch it. And then I'll just binge watch it. Watch the whole thing. That's my thing to do. It's just like, because I work late at night. So I usually am up till like 2:30-ish. So I just like watch TV shows the whole time while I'm working in the background. But okay, yeah. As I said, I will see you tomorrow on the gaming channel for AOW Underground Money in the Bank. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you for being here and chatting with me. And I will see you all on Monday. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.